Hello, my fellow Renegades. Welcome back to the Renegade Society radio show. I am super hyped to be doing this show with you today. We have some really cool folks to talk to, and we also have a really awesome a little giveaway that we're doing that I'm also super hyped for because it's one of my personal faves. But before we jump into that, a couple of reminders for everybody about some cool stuff that we have going on over here. So we do have Agretzko, the game, which is based on the anime of the same name, which is now available for pre-order. So you got to check that out. It looks like it's going to be so much fun. It is a game that is made in partner with Oni Games. Obviously, you all know my love of Oni Games. So 100% you should check this one out. And we also have the Scott Pilgrim's Miniatures The World, which is also now available with the painted minis. I believe our pre-order for that is sold out right now, but you can check in online, and you can also check in with your friendly local game store. So definitely make sure you get your hands on that one because it looks fantastic. And it is a miniature team-based competitive game, which is also made in partner with Oni Games. Yay! Our giveaway today is going to be for a copy of Lanterns, the Harvest Festival. And a little known fact, this is actually a game that was play tested at a game cafe near me back in the day. So I know this game, and I feel like the original Lanterns at least. And so Lanterns, just everything Lanterns to me is very close to my heart. I love that whole world. The code word will be given later in the show, and Desiree, of course, will provide the link for you all, and then you can enter our code word in there. And just a quick reminder, if you have any questions, my guests today are Ryan and Katie Pilz of Tantrum House. Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Thank you so much for being here. And if anyone has any questions for my guests, please feel free to put them in the chat. You can get those in early, and we will get to them later on in the show. So before we jump in, if you both want to tell me, Katie and Ryan, just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and where we can find both you and your work online.
Yeah, so Katie and I are one of 4 couples that are the core group of Tantrum House. There's also the Meadows, the Dews, and the Delps. And you'll probably see the Delps the most often because Kevin does his board games coming to Kickstarter, now coming to crowdfunding since things are moving more broadly from Kickstarter. But you'll find us on Facebook and YouTube. We also have an Instagram, and we do lots of giveaways. So it pays to tune into our
for those giveaways, friends.
Yeah,
that's right. What was the question?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm back. All right. Yes, that was me. I left, but I'm back. And I am all about those giveaways. That sounds so exciting and so awesome. You also do a ton of content, like with Tantrum House. Like there's so many different shows. And every time I'm like, I wonder what else could possibly be. I'm like, oh, there's this thing, and this thing is amazing. What was the thing that I was watching? The Sunday, what's it called? Where you do like it's almost like a sports, like you're drafting games and like versing them against each other, and then people get a vote.
Yeah, we're doing, I think it's a playoff of the March Madness thing. But that's copyrighted. Couldn't say March Madness. But yeah, we've got a bracket going, and people are actually voting. We're putting 2 games against each other. And then people are voting on what they think is the best of the 2 games picked. And it's all going to culminate into the winner. And
so I think what we said is whoever makes the best bracket, and I guess it's whoever's best at guessing popularity, because that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
They're gonna win the #1 game.
Yeah.
So we're gonna send it their way.
I love that. I'm gonna have to, I was watching it, and I was just like, this is so cool. It looks like so much fun. Like I just want to get involved. So yeah, the Sunday bracket is definitely something that I think is so unique. I haven't seen anyone do anything like that. So super cool.
We've got a lot of people at Tantrum House who come up with like, oh, we should do this, or we should do that, or we should do this. And a lot of times we're going, when do we have time to do that also?
But I love that energy. And I feel like that energy is, for me, a big thing that I think really makes you stand out, because you can tell everyone's just so enthusiastic about all of the games and about playing with each other too. Like there's just so much camaraderie that you all have that I think is really beautiful. So, and you've been playing a lot of games lately. So what I kind of wanted to touch on is lately I've been sort of checking out, like it's so weird because you would think board gaming would have slowed down with everything that's been going on, but I feel like we've just been like booming even crazier.
Yes.
So I was wondering if there's any games that you've played recently or reviewed on the channel that you've just like fallen in love with. And I was wondering why that one might be one of your favorites from the recent stuff.
Okay, so we talked about this because you sent us the questions ahead of time so we would know.
Love it.
And I've got a couple of games. I'm having a hard time like narrowing it down to one. But I have a couple of games that I keep thinking like, oh, people are coming over. Let's play this game. Or
let's play this 3-hour game.
Well, so I've got a couple of games that I keep thinking like, oh, we should play that again. We should play that again. We need to play that at least one more time, and that is the Cedars Exodus that we reviewed recently. It is a worker placement bidding, more of a bidding, comboing, set collections, with a lot of take that.
And I also love anything that's like a worker placement and also bidding. Like that for me is just like, it lends really well to anything that is take that. So yes, love it.
Yes. So that was really fun. I've been enjoying that. That's the like 3-hour game he's talking about. It's hard to get people to play it when they're coming over for a casual game night.
Yeah, you have to like hide the hours on it. You're like, it's a while. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's only 4 rounds long.
It's only 4 rounds.
There you go.
Yeah, but it is very long. Those are very involved rounds. Cool. Another one that I keep thinking, oh, I need to play that again, is actually Hadrian's Wall. So yeah, we did a viewpoints video for Hadrian's Wall where we all kind of talked about what we thought about it. And now that I got past the like learning how to play part of the game, I'm like, I really need to play that again because I think I'll understand it better. That there's just so much going on in that game that I feel like I could probably play it 8 or 9 times in a row and just hit on completely different things. So
yeah, I've been told it's very crunchy.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's so much going on. You could, like I said, there were things in that game I didn't even touch the whole time because I was like, I'm not sure what that does, but maybe I'll get to it the next game.
Yeah, that's great though, especially for a flipping right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much going on with it. When we first had both sheets, I was like, there's 2, and I was just looking at it and my eyes started to cross. I felt like it was one of those newspaper visual things where you're supposed to cross and makes like a 3D image.
Love that.
Well, there's a ton of information to look at on Hadrian's Wall. And once you get through the explanation, like all of the visuals makes so much sense though that you can just look at it and be like, oh yeah, that's what that does. Or, because the way they designed it, it works really well. Like all the iconography works. You can easily tell what needs to be done. So
the problem is knowing what to do. Like, you can figure out what's going on, but what should you be doing to earn points? Because I first glance, I was like, this is what's going to make me win. And I was last place. So.
I also feel like the cool thing with games like that, with games where, especially when you're kind of creating something as well, where you like kind of get a stake in it, is you can also play those games too in the way of like, I just want to do this because like it sounds fun and it sounds like what I am like feeling today. And so the cool thing is like, even when you lose, if you like commit to a strategy, you're like, oh, I didn't like win that one, but oh man, that was like fun to just play this thing and kind of see how that those elements work together.
Yeah.
But yeah, the more I read about Hadrian's Wall, it's like there's so many things that like get you points that I'm just like, oh, like what am I doing? Am I going to entertain people? Am I going to bring the people in? Am I going to like focus on, you know, just sort of like building this massive thing? Seems amazing. I still haven't played it, so like I need to play that one. 100%.
Oh, you definitely should. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. That's great. And I also noticed you talk a lot about sort of like the different studios that you have. And so are the studios sort of in reference to the different families? And how many sets do you all have between you? Because I also noticed like there's so many different, like visually, it's very diverse, all of the different places you're all in.
Yeah, we do have each couple has a home studio. So that's the studio. And when we refer to a studio, we're referring to the location of it, not necessarily who's in the video.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, so that's maybe a little confusing, but it is location based. And so we each have our own home studio, which came more out of necessity from just like having so much content that we're like, we can't just all the time be crashing one person's home. We really just need to be able to film in our own homes.
When we first started out, we had an headquarters studio HQ, which was in someone's basement, but then they moved and their new house didn't have a basement. So we don't film there all the time anymore because it doesn't exist.
Yeah. And so because the diversity comes in with just what couples can do with the space that they have available in their homes. We have talked about getting a space that's like committed just for our studio, but maybe that's in the works in the future. I don't know.
Yeah, long-term plan.
Yeah, more like a 5-year plan, maybe for Tantrum House to have a physical location that we can go to and have a set just committed to doing videos for us.
That's awesome, though. I feel like I wouldn't have even been able to tell from the videos that it was like just in. Everyone's always just like, oh, this is just like my room, and I'm like, oh, because it looks amazing. So I wish my room looked like that. Like I definitely have a ton of board games in my room, don't get me wrong, but it's not as organized, and there's many clothes interchanged with my board games on my shelf. Yes.
Well, we have issues where we have to keep our children out of our studio space because they like to go in and pull things off the shelves and pulling games out, and it's like, oh, this is now a mess. So we have to keep our studio room closed so they don't wander in there and mess things up.
It's hard when it's board games though, because it's like one of those things that they're like, I want to go like play with this and like take this out. And you're like, I mean, it's games. So yes, but also it's work. So no.
So no, please don't. I'll spend hours resorting this game.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. Although I feel like I'm a mess with a lot of my games. So try to not be a mess. I need to get better with organizing my stuff. But that's okay. I just, my setup anyways is like on my kitchen floor. So yeah, I feel you. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. I definitely would have thought that you had like a few different studio spaces, even between everybody with Tantrum House that you like went to and shot at. Cause that's like how professional everything looks. It's amazing.
Oh,
so good
thank
job.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. What do you do? So even for like the bigger spaces, when you're sort of all in a video, like the Hello Neighbor video that you had that went up a while ago, or like a couple days ago, or maybe that was actually today. With that video, there was like a bunch of people playing. So is that also just like someone's home space where like we just have this awesome? It's so big. That was the thing I was looking at.
Yeah, that's the Meadows living room.
Okay.
They rearranged it to better accommodate the videos.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Meadows have like a big open space where we do our Saturday morning board game show as well.
Cool. Yeah.
And we do a lot of filming in that space, and we do a lot of moving of furniture and rearranging of different things to make it fit whatever we're needing it to be.
Wow. Well, good job. And I'm glad that everybody's also helping out with that and helping all the stuff get moved. That must be like quite a bit, but yeah, it looks very spacious and like really big on camera. Of course, although I know that anything we do on camera always is, it's like an illusion. You could be shooting in a little closet and it looks massive, but yeah,
if you know what you're doing, that's the way it goes.
Yes. We have sneaky film tricks we can always deploy. But yeah, it just looked so massive and it just looked like such a fun time with everyone there at the table. And I was like, oh, I love this. It made me very envious. I was like, I wish I had a table like this and some space. Maybe one day. So we're also hitting about the halfway-ish mark. So I'm going to do the quick code word for a giveaway today. So friends, the giveaway code word today for our copy of Lanterns Harvest Festival is family, because I feel like Tantrum House, one, I feel like you all are just such a big family together, and two, you're definitely so family focused, and I love that. Because of that, I feel like we get so many different points of view as well when it comes to these games, which I just think is so valuable to have all on one channel. So yes, family, put it in there, win a game, good luck. My fingers are crossed. So when it comes to that, actually, when it comes to that family element, I was wondering, how long have you all been playing games together at Tantrum House? How long have you both been there, actually, to start off?
Well, Will Meadows and I, well, Will used to host a game night, and I
still host a game night.
Yeah, well, now it's a Tantrum House.
Now it's a Tantrum House game night.
But that started back in 2012. So I've been playing games with Will for quite some time. And then Tantrum House itself started making content in early 2015, I believe.
Okay.
And then all of our wives got roped into it later that year.
Yeah.
So they've been making content since then as well.
It started out with just Will and Ryan doing the board game reviews, and they did something, and I can't remember what happened, but for some reason they're like, oh, we need Katie and Sarah to do this one. We need a woman's perspective. And we're like, okay. And I thought it was just a one-time thing. And then, yeah, here we are years later doing it all the time.
And they were like, nope, we love you. You got to come in. You got to get in on this. I love that though, because it really is like, I mean, I think it's so valuable to just have everybody's perspective at the table. And I love that there's also like, there's kids involved, there's adults involved. So you're really getting like everyone's 2 cents on it, as to, which really helps you decide when you're watching the content, like, is this a game that's suited for the people that I'm playing with at the table? Is this a game that's suited for me? And who is this game for? Which I think is what we all want for all games. We just want to find like lovely little homes for them and people to love and play them. So yeah, that's awesome. That's so long. That's almost 10 years. That's crazy.
Wow. Is it really? Oh man.
Yeah. Because if you've been playing since 2012, it's 2021 now. So in 2022, that'll be 10 years that you've been playing together.
Yeah. That is a long time.
Yeah. You guys are going to have to do something, some kind of like celebration, some party.
I know. We'll put that on the books. We're always ready to party.
Oh yeah, I love it. I believe it. And how long was it sort of, so then you started and then the 4 of you were doing it together, and then how did other people get involved? Were they people that you already knew, or did you like cast people for it, or how does that work?
We knew Kevin Delp from the area. He had a library group that was playing board games some years before, and they had disbanded for some reason. But we knew that he was into board games and he had expressed some interest. So we're like, oh yeah, why don't you join us for some games and we'll see how it goes. And then he ended up being a major contender. So we're like, oh yeah, you can join us, sure.
Yeah, he came in like super enthusiastic with a bunch of ideas of what he'd love to see, and a bunch of know-how. Like Kevin and Melissa have been playing like board games for a long time. Like they came in with like knowledge of like all these older games, like right as board games were starting to make an upward climb in popularity again in the early 2000s. So they had a bunch of like older knowledge and like they brought in a new perspective because at the time we'd only been playing like serious board games, for maybe 4 or 5 years. So them coming in with like even more knowledge and ideas and everything, it just, was a good fit.
Yeah, and then the Dew family, we've known them for a long time, but we didn't know they were into board games.
Yeah,
and,
I had no idea.
They just kept volunteering and asking to be more involved. And we're like, bring it on. We've got plenty of content that needs to be made.
Yeah, and
Amazing.
I think they officially joined on with Tantrum House. Was it last year?
Yes.
It's hard. 2020 was
2020 was a
seems
mess.
like it was ages.
Yeah,
So,
I think they officially have been on with Tantrum House for a year now, maybe a little more than a year.
All right. Yeah, that's good. And I feel like even if you aren't exact with that, no one's going to fault you. As Stephen Colbert was saying the other day, it was like 2020 was both like a very long day is what it felt like, as well as like 100 years all at once. So it's like, what is time anymore?
Completely.
Yeah, we don't know. But that's okay. We'll get back to time eventually. I'm sure it's just waiting around the corner for us.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's so cool. I love that you all have kind of been like playing together and like we're all kind of like friends, and then you just kind of came together and we're like, we're just all gonna get in on this. Cool. Love it.
Yeah.
That's so fun. That makes sense why you have all that. There's just sort of like a very like natural like ease between everybody when I see you all on camera together. That is so, I don't know, it's like contagious. It's like I watch it and then I'm like, I just want to like have fun. And I feel like when I watch everybody play, I'm like, I feel like I'm having fun with you. So it's very satisfying.
Wonderful. That's like exactly what we want to hear.
Yay! I love that. Well, mission accomplished. Yeah. I feel like I'm part of, I feel like I'm welcome at the table is what it feels like, which is, it's good. Speaking of that, when it comes to the content that you make, is there anything that you feel that really makes sort of your approach to board game content, reviews, playthroughs, all of those things unique in terms of what you sort of want to do?
Oh, that's a harder question. We kind of sat down earlier this year and kind of talked about some of the things that we thought made us kind of who we are as Tantrum House. And some of the things that kept coming up was the fact that it was that we are very family oriented and we have a big group of us, some of the stuff you've already mentioned. And also that we're couples. Like I know that there are some other reviewers that do it as couples, but we tend to review things as couples. So you're getting a man's perspective and a woman's perspective, and seeing how it might relate to you, like if you're thinking about doing it with a partner. So there's that. We do try to keep it light and fun.
Yeah, we try to be engaging and approachable if people want to reach out and communicate with us. And we try to encourage that communication with giveaways and such. And with our live feeds where people can interact with us during the Saturday morning board game show.
Yeah,
or
those are
some
a lot
of our
of
live
fun.
playthroughs. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually just recently had Tantrum Con Digital. So we host a board game convention normally in person, but this year was online, and we had a lot of fun with people participating online. We had a what we called a Zoom crew who got to see behind the scenes. They were on all day with us, and we had a big TV screen that we had set up where we could see them, and we chatted with them the whole day, and they got to see all kinds of special behind the scenes things. And it was a lot of fun. I felt like I got to really know some of the people because they were there like the whole weekend chatting with us. And
wow.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. And I love that it's like almost like the the element of what we've kind of been missing with cons, because you're getting this sort of like one-on-one interaction and also like a group interaction in a way that, you know, is very personable, which is, you know, usually exclusive, like just you got to be there to experience it. So it's cool that you're able to take that to the virtual level as well.
Yeah, we were really striving for that during our convention, because we know that like our convention, when it meets in person, a lot of people told us like, we love that your convention feels really friendly, like it could just sit down and play with anybody there. And so we really wanted to be able to pull that into our digital convention as well. So we tried to focus on that.
That's great. Yeah, I love that that element. And I mean, we've kind of touched on it, and you were also just kind of touching on it, but I think it is that really approachable and sort of like everyone is welcome to come like chill and just hang out, and that connection. Like I feel like there's such a strong connection that you have with the people that are consuming your content, which is lovely. I'm gonna have to tune in. I'm gonna have to drop into the Saturday morning show and come and chill with you guys. Do you do that on Twitch or do you do that on YouTube?
We do I think it's YouTube Live.
YouTube Live?
Yeah.
Cool.
And it might be a misnomer. It's not every Saturday. It's the first Saturday of the month.
Yeah.
First Saturday of the month. Ooh, but that's coming up soon. So that's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. We're actually won't be on this upcoming episode because we're going camping.
Oh, well, that'll be fun. I was about to be sad, but then I was like, oh, well, you're going camping, so that'll be enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring the games with you.
With some little kids.
Yes.
Oh.
Our two young daughters, it will be an experience probably. We may not get any sleep. So who knows?
Well, hopefully you'll get some sleep, and hopefully it'll be one of those very exciting experiences where you just have lots of fun adventures together.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all the questions from me for now. So I am going to turn it to the chat. So yes, Desiree, do we have any questions in the chat?
So we have 2 questions today. So let's see. Were you always Tantrum House from the start? Where did the name come from?
Ryan probably can answer that better
so
than
I think originally we really struggled to come up with a name for ourselves. And Will was like, I have a failed t-shirt line called Tantrum Tees that I never did anything with. What do you guys think about using the Tantrum name? And that's where we took it from, Tantrum House.
Yeah.
Because he had 3 small boys at the time. They're a little bit bigger now.
Yeah, but we have carried on the Tantrum House with children. There's a lot of kids that come to our board game nights when we get together to play. We get to play together at least once a week when we just get together and play board games. And we end up with how many kids there? 7, 8 children running around, sometimes screaming, sometimes tantrums. So that's always going on in the background.
Yeah, usually well behaved.
Yeah, I actually thought it's so funny because when I was watching the videos, I thought a lot of it, like tantrum came from just like the idea of like just like a full house almost, like this idea of like energy and kind of like a zaniness. So it's so funny that it also kind of fits in, I feel like, to the energy really well of what you do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
As I say, earlier in our I don't know, the part of
History?
Yeah, earlier in our history. There we go. I was like, we're trying.
Yeah.
In the beginning, we focused a little more on the like tantrum part, and we use that. And sometimes we still use some of that a little bit, like different keywords that go along with like the idea of tantrum.
Yeah, and at Tantrum Con, we emphasize the tantrum with our yearly table flipping.
Yeah.
So we have a table flipping contest.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. What is
Goes
that? Like
over
whoever
pretty
can
well.
flip a table the best? How do you judge?
So we'll pair people up and they will flip the designated game. I think we've had Monopoly and then Galaxy Trucker. And then this year it was digital, so people just submitted stuff. And we just vote on who did the best flip. So this year, because it was Tantrum Con Digital, people just submitted their own videos of flipping tables with whatever game they wanted. And there were some really cool ones. Someone was flipping a table and they like set it on fire. And we did a stop motion animated video with one of my mechs coming in and flipping a table, a tiny table.
A little tiny table.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I feel like the community really enjoyed submitting the videos. So.
Yeah, I feel like
really nice
keep that digital element too, like going forward. I think you need to have it be physical and like send in flips. More table flips is always better. Yeah, that's great.
That would be definitely fun. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you could even do a reaction video to them on the channel for when people send them in, and then kind of do your little judging. Probably very fun to watch. Definitely very fun to react to, I'm sure, as I'm sure you experienced.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with our judging, we normally do crowd voting. So when we do it in person, it was like, all right, cheering for, this team or cheering for that team. And then this year we did online voting. We had all the submissions up, and then people voted online which one they thought was best. So
I love it. Awesome.
That's
right,
very cool. I did not know you all did that. That's really cool. All right. So what, I think this is for both of you. What was the initial board game or games that got you into the industry?
Yeah. So in college, I played a lot of Settlers of Catan, but I just thought it was like, this is a new game. I didn't know a whole lot about the gaming world in general. I had played all of the older classics like Monopoly, Clue, and yada, yada. And so I was like, oh, Settlers of Catan, that's pretty cool. And then after I got out of college, randomly, I didn't even ask for this, my sister for Christmas gave me Roll for the Galaxy. I was like, this game's amazing. And then I was like, where did this even come from? And I was looking it up, and I stumbled across the board gaming community. I was like, wow, there's like so much more that I was not even aware of. I need to find out more. So I think Roll for the Galaxy was my gateway game into the board gaming drug.
That's fair.
For me, I think when I became aware of more modern board games is my family got for Christmas. I don't know, what is it about Christmas gifts? For Christmas, my family received Dominion.
Ooh.
And we played Dominion for hours and hours and hours. And the rest of my family could put it down, and I had a hard time doing it. I was like, all right, guys, next round. And they're like, no, we need to eat. We need to sleep. And I was like, no, just one more time. So I think for me, Dominion definitely pulled me in.
I feel like I just had friends recently who played Dominion who like are kind of like on the fringes of board gaming as a hobby, and just like lost their minds. Like they were like, this is so revolutionary. And I was like, there's so many games that you need to play.
You don't even know.
Yeah, you don't even know. I'm like, and also, although they were playing, I think with an expansion, and they were like really into Dominion, but I was like, Dominion is such a gateway game into just a whole genre of, what was I going to say? Of, what do you call that? Why can't I think
deck
of
builders?
Yes, thank you. Deck builders. It's like, there's a word for that. Yes, deck builders. For sure.
Yeah, it's like the grandfather of deck builders. Like,
it is.
Things just got based off of that all the time now.
Of course. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that too, as I see it, because Dominion still holds up today for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I still really love Dominion, and it's one of those games that I'm still like, oh yeah, you want to play Dominion? Yeah, let's sit down and play. So.
Same, especially with some of the expansions and stuff in there, because there's some that I still haven't played. So like when I sit down to play and there's like new stuff in, I'm like, ooh, this like still feels like it's like an old friend, but like with a little bit of something new that I love.
Yeah, say just a little extra mystery to figure out. Like, okay, how do I play these 10 cards together?
Yeah, exactly.
I have a hard time playing the base Dominion Sorry, I have a hard time playing the base Dominion because my first Dominion experience was their big box. So I think of Prosperity and Alchemy as being base Dominion.
Base, yeah.
So
and then that's gone and you're like, what do I do?
Yeah, where's the platinum cards?
I love that.
And it looks like we have one more question that just came in. So let's see. Has the pandemic improved your process in any way, or any of the processes that you have for video? Has it improved, or how do you feel if it has improved?
I feel like it has forced us a little bit more to figure out how we can play digitally with our audience, because before we didn't really focus on that very much, but being forced to play digitally just to play with anybody made us really evaluate what games could we play digitally, how can we make this a better experience, because the first few times we tried playing some games, just like over Zoom or things like that, we had a hard time making it it was fun, but making it worth it, making it a good experience. So I think that part has really improved. Of course, the more we do it, the more it improves even more. I definitely don't think we've, hit our goal of amazing with that, but definitely still room for improvement. But I think we've focused on interacting more digitally with our audience because of this.
Yeah, every year we make marked improvements from the year before. So we're always improving, but I guess that's probably the direction that COVID took us with this year's improvements.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. That's the biggest thing I can think of. I don't know if I can think of anything off the top of my head other than that.
Yeah, I feel like also the learning curve in a lot of the digital stuff that we've had to adapt to this year as tabletop gamers has been, I can see Desiree also nodding off camera. She's like, yes. I know Desiree has, and also been mastering the learning curve, if I may say so, Desiree. But yes, such a learning curve, and weird, because it's like that thing of you're like, oh, this will never be like how it can be at a table. And then there are things that surprise me when I start to understand things better and get in the groove of even playing games online with friends. It's gotten to a point where I actually get excited, to play a game over the digital world. I would say I'm as excited as I am when I sit down at a table to play with people. So yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
As I say, it is, you're right. The learning curve is for sure there, but once you can kind of get over that, make it over that hump, you're suddenly into okay, yeah, this could be really fun.
Yeah.
So,
once you get over the
totally
learning curve, you give yourself permission, I think, to just have fun. And then it's kind of just depending on your personal preference. But just even, and I mean, maybe it's also because I'm so, I'm missing so much of the being at the table with people, and I've had so much of a withdraw from it. But yeah, just even being on a call with people and just hearing people's voices as we move pieces digitally around something, I'm like, this feels so nice.
I know.
Yeah.
You didn't realize how much you miss it until you're like, oh no, I can't play board games with anybody.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, it looks like that is all the questions for tonight.
Amazing. Well, those are some really good questions. Everyone always has such good questions, especially that last one. I'm like, that's a good one.
I know, that was challenging.
I know they ask the hard, I feel like we're always asking the hard questions here on the Renegade Society show. Sometimes I'm like, ooh. Even sometimes when I ask questions, we were talking to Elisa Teague last week. I was asking her these questions about her favorite things. And she was like, I don't like to pick favorite things. And I was like, oh my gosh, so many of my questions are about your favorite things. I'm so sorry. She was like, you're asking me so many hard questions. I was like, I know. But I always say to people, it's also totally fine if your favorites are a list of things. That is fine.
Yeah.
Because I am exactly that way. So yeah. All right.
Katie's mom does this thing. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, you go ahead.
Yeah. Katie's mom does this thing about movies where she's like, That's definitely in my top 10 list of action movies with someone who's over 6 feet tall. And that one's definitely in my top 10 sci-fi movies set in another galaxy. Like they're very niche top 10 lists.
Basically, all of the movies are on her top 10 list somewhere.
Exactly.
I love that though. I love that. You know what? I also just love that energy because to me it implies that like every time you come to something, you come to it like trying to look for something you can love about it. Like you're basically just coming to every table being like, what do I love about this? As opposed to sitting down and being like, what do I not like? Which is, I just think, such more worthwhile energy to be putting out in the world and effort to be putting out of.
Yeah.
Why do I love it?
And I feel like there is always something to like in every board game. For sure, there are styles or types of themes or, mechanics that I don't care for as much, but usually there is something about a board game that I'm like, oh, you know what? They did this really well. And this is a fun part. So,
yeah, I completely agree with that. I think so many forms of art, including board games, which I do believe are art, is like that as well. There's always something you can find because there's usually a lot of collaboration and a lot of people that get involved in stuff. And it's like, there's probably going to be someone that did something in here that is like seeing something with you and you can connect with it. So 100%. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Ryan and Katie. It was so lovely having you on. And before you go, could you remind us of who you are, what you do, and where we can find both you and your work online?
Yeah, so we are part of Tantrum House. We're a board game media company. We had platforms on YouTube, Facebook. We have our own website, Twitter, Instagram,
Discord,
Twitch. It's because we have so many people who are part of Tantrum House. We got a bunch of people running different things.
And we've got Tantrum Con once a year.
Yeah, and Tantrum Con
possibly twice a year if we keep doing digital.
Yeah, so we do reviews and previews and wherever you can find podcasts, because we also do podcasts.
Awesome. You do everything. I don't know when you all sleep, but thank you for all of the content because it's really great content. So keep making it and keep doing weird things. Like keep doing ideas that you're like, oh, well, this is another idea. I love that. I love that energy so much. Well, thank you so much for joining us and thank you everybody for joining us. Before we go, just a couple quick little reminders. So as I said before, we have Agretzko, the game based on the anime of the same name, which is now available for pre-order. And that game was made in partner with Oni Games. And we also have Scott Pilgrim Miniatures The World, which is now available with painted minis. You can check online or check with your friendly local game store for that. It is also just so beautiful and so fun. You trust me, you're going to need it. It is a basically competitive team-based game. And yeah, it's just a world of delightfulness. So that is also made with Oni Games. And of course, our Twitch schedule, we have More Phenomenal Mondays. So if you want to get in with all of our Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid action, we've got Vampire Wednesdays. If you want to, wet your whistle and, I don't know, sit up and have this little drink of blood with us. I don't know if I could say that on Twitch, but I said it. So I hope that's fine. And of course, we have Renegade Society radio show on Fridays here, where we sit down and talk with so many amazing guests like Ryan and Katie from Tantrum House. One more time, the giveaway word for our giveaway for Lanterns Harvest Festival is family. So Desiree will have that link in the chat. You click on that, you enter the word, and you're entering yourself to win a copy. My fingers are crossed for you. Thank you so much for joining us again. And I will see you all. Oh yeah, no worries. Thank you so much. We'll see you. And we will see you all hopefully next week as well, everyone watching out there. And thank you, Desiree, for producing as always. All right, friends, I'll see you next Friday. And until then, remember to play your game.